Good evening. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Pierce County Council. Today is April 28th. The time is 6:30, and would like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Yambe.
Here.
Councilmember Kruver.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
Councilmember Ayala.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
You have 7 members present.
With 7 members, we do have a quorum, so thank you all for attending. Remind you to silence your cell phones. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag this evening, followed by a moment of silence dedicated to the men and women serving overseas in the military, and also in honor of Senator Gildon's wife, Autumn, who passed suddenly this weekend. Following the moment of silence, Vice Chair Herrera will read the land acknowledgement. We're going to ask you to please stand. The flags are over here.
Acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step towards true allyship, and we commit to the uplifting of the voices, experiences, and histories of the indigenous people of this land.
Thank you, Vice Chair. It is a tradition when we have an in-district meeting that the chair of the council passes off the gavel to the chair of the district that we're in. So I'm going to hand the meeting off and sit back and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Chair Hitchens. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this in district on Crystal Mountain at the Crystal Mountain Ski Resort. So with that, we also have another tradition is we have Mr. Cox explain what in the world we're doing here. Yes. So, Mr. Cox.
Yes, Councilmember Burrell. As you know, Section 2.30 of the Pierce County Charter provides that the council shall conduct at least one evening meeting each year in each council district, and this happens to be the charter required District Number 1 council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Cox, for the legal explanation on why we're here. And then at this time, we have a chair.
Hi, sir.
We have another tradition that we do is we have the council members kind of tell you where they're from and what's unique about their districts. And we'll start down at Councilmember Kruver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Amy Kruver, and I represent Council District Number 3, the other side of the mountain. And my district follows the river from Elbe, Ashford, Eatonville, McKenna, up through Roy. Then I head on north to Spanaway, then back over through Frederickson. I have the west side of Graham, and I have Kapowson. So thank you for sharing your side of the mountain. We'll do mine next year.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Rosie Ayala. I represent District 4. District 4 geographically is the smallest of our districts. It covers a large part of Tacoma, University Place, and Fircrest.
Good evening, everybody. I have the honor and pleasure of representing District 6, which includes Lakewood, DuPont, Steilacoom, a couple of islands, Anderson, Ketron, and McNeil Island, the base, Joint Base Lewis McChord, and then half of Parkland, which is where I live. Thank you for having us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Herrera, Pierce County Council, District 2. It's great to be here at Crystal Mountain. Many great memories here as a kid. My dad brought me up here, and I brought my kids up here, and it's interesting to see the changes up here. Also, I just want to note that I really have appreciated over the years that Crystal has always been friendly to veterans. In particular, Jim Martinson, who lost his legs in Vietnam, who can shred. He's an awesome guy. But out of District 2, which is Milton, Edgewood, Sumner, and Puyallup and Southfield areas. And it's great to be up here.
So good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Yambe. I represent District 5, which is Browns Point, Dash Point, Northeast Tacoma, Tide Flats, City of Fife, Fife Heights, part of Parkland, part of Puyallup, Summit Waller, Midland, and a little bit of Spanaway. And we're home to the Port of Tacoma. And most of my district encapsulates the Puyallup tribe of Indians. So.
Good evening. I'm Robin Denson. I represent the People, Lands, and Waters of District 7, which is North Tacoma, West Tacoma, the town of Ruston, and then everything west of the Narrows Bridge, so Gig Harbor, Fox Island, the Key Peninsula, so kind of the northwest corner. I don't have any mountains in my district. I'm probably the area with the most sea level and the most coastline, so it's very beautiful, lots of beaches, lots of shellfish, lots of beautiful estuaries, but I love the mountains, and I've only been to Crystal skiing once. It was years ago when my kids were really little. It's just beautiful, but I'm a ski patroller over at White Pass, so we always encourage people to come to Crystal. little joke between ski resorts.
Thank you. You are in Council District number 1, and that is the reason why we're having this meeting tonight. This is historical. Pierce County has never had a meeting anywhere close to Crystal Mountain Resort or Greenwater. So this is a first. This is the highest council meeting we've ever had. That is a novelty that'll go down the history books. But District 1 takes in unincorporated South Hill, Graham drops down into Orting. I have all the small little towns, South Prairie, Carbonado, Wilkeson, and then I've got Orting, and then we go to Lake Tapps, Bonnie Lake, Buckley, and I jump over King County and end up at Greenwater. It is unusual, but people a lot of times don't understand that this is in Pierce County. So from that standpoint, also within District 1, I have quite a few ghost towns: Crocker, Melmont, Fairfax. These are old logging and coal towns that built Tacoma. And they were small little townships. They're not even cities. But, I appreciate what they all bring to the historical aspect of Pierce County. So with that, I will introduce probably one of the most important people to me is my council aide, Judy Hurley. She's in the back there. And then if other council members have council aides, they can do the introduction. But I would like to have staff do self-introductions. You already met Mr. Cox.
My name is Stephanie Call. I'm clerk to the council.
I'm Mike Kruger. I'm a policy analyst for the council for all 7 members.
An avid skier.
Yep. I got pass order for. I would like to get my discount tonight.
Early bird right now.
My assistant, Larry Stickney, is here.
I'm Erica Hunt, and I'm a policy analyst for all 7 members as well. And I learned myself how to ski at Crystal Mountain when I was 36 years old.
Yeah, that downhill was amazing, huh? And who do we have in the back?
I'm Brian Dominique, Communications Manager for the Council. Like Mike, I also work for all 7 members. Hugh Taylor, Chief of Staff for the Pierce County Council.
They told me not to stand up in front of the camera. Jair Winesberry, Communications Coordinator here with the Pierce County Council. Never been here before, so this is amazing.
Great, thank you. I think we've got all that covered right now. So moving along, approval of today's agenda. We're now at section 4, approval of the agenda. Are there any objections for approving the agenda as presented? Okay. And do we really have to? No, we don't. We'll just approve the agenda. On today's agenda, there'll be opportunity for public comment under community forum. There are no items on the consent agenda, and there are no ordinances or resolutions on the agenda. For information on the rules to participate, for public participation, please review the bottom of the page 1 of today's agenda. If not, then it's my judgment. So, but everyone will be civil and we'll all get along under public comments, so no problem. And then there is no items on consent. There is no messages from the executive. There are no proclamations. There are no resolutions. There are no ordinances. So we move right on to other business. And it would be the welcome to Crystal Mountain. And Matt Darbas is going to welcome us here.
Thank you. And boy, I see you guys moved right through to give us as much time as possible. But thank you to the council, to Council Member Morrell and his office for giving us the chance to show off our resort to you, and for all of you for making the drive to come up and see us today. When we were graciously given this opportunity to show off what we do here, as a business, as an operating business, it seemed like we do a great disservice to the council to not showcase what's really going on up here, and that's much more than just another business in the district. It's really a community. So with me to help talk today, I've got a few members of our community, Chief Sowers of our fire districts, 25 and 26, Greenwater and Crystal Mountain. I've got Doug Blanchard, one of the residents here, to talk about some of the interesting things about living up here as a community member. Stacy Krenich, the CEO of Good Roots. She's worked with us on, as kind of a subject matter expert on a number of different things related to supply chain and food storage, and again, dealing with the challenges of the remote nature of our work. And then we were hoping to have a representative from the Muckleshoot tribe. We'll talk about this in a second, but we do have, to our knowledge, the first and only tribal school on Forest Service lands in the country. And we do a lot of really great things with their children to connect them to the lands, to help them with their education programs, but then bring them into our world as well and show them what it's like to ski and learn how to kind of quote one of their counselors, to fall down and pick yourself back up and do it over and over again. So it's really special. In lieu of having them there, Lena Hansen, our VP of marketing and of sales and marketing, will speak to that, and we'll show a short video on that. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Crystal before we get into that. We are the largest ski resort in the state of Washington. We operate the only gondola in the state, as well as the only mountaintop restaurant. We just are close to wrapping up our 63rd season, being founded in 1962. We're also one of the largest employers in District 1. And that's something that a lot of people don't know, again, that we are, as Councilmember Morrell alluded to, that we are indeed in Pierce County. We're not part of King County. Yes, you have to go through King County to get here, but we are part of this county, and we're on the other side of the mountain. We're a diversified recreational resort. What that means is we are a summer and a winter operation. Summer business has been something that's growing for us. We've invested heavily in that. and the demand for the growing communities of Puget Sound to really get out and recreate, and really working with a lot of our regulatory agencies, the Forest Service, to help concentrate recreation in manageable areas, responsibly manageable areas, has been an important part of our growth. Lastly, again, there's much more than just our resort up here. We operate one of the largest U.S. Forest Service cabin communities just down the road. When I say we, I don't mean Crystal Mountain, I mean all of us. So there are about 400 cabins in the state, 185 of them, so almost half of the state of Washington is off the 410 corridor between Crystal Mountain and Greenwater. In addition, there's 400 Greenwater residents that are there full-time, a number of transients. We have about 300 rooms for ski clubs on the mountain, 87 overnight hoteling capacities, 150 condos, and 37 home sites up the hill. So a lot more, again, going on up here than just a business. And with that, I do want to be brief in my time. We'll come back up for Q&A, but I do want to make sure that the other folks have time to speak as well, so I'll be brief. With that, Linnea?
Good evening. I'm Linnea Hansen. I am not a Muckleshoot tribal member, but really honored to speak on their behalf, as well as share 3 other community programs that Crystal Mountain participates in every year. And for us, it's about building community because we believe it builds our business. We are a for-profit business, but we know it starts with the heart and soul of our skiers, which is to connect people to the outdoors. So the Muckleshoot program, we can bring up that first slide, and then we'll go to a video, but I'll share a little bit about the program first. No, the Muckleshoot slide. Oh, is everyone seeing? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, this program started several years ago and is really of the Muckleshoot and for the Muckleshoot. They started the tribal school in partnership with Crystal and the Forest Service. And how we participate is to provide access to the mountain, as well as lessons and rentals. And we heard from firsthand some of their high school counselors that help support the students last year at our end of the year employee meeting. So while they can't be here tonight, some of their words were exactly as Matt was saying. Some of these kids are at high risk. They're exposed to things in their life that make it hard. And not only does this connect them to their land through the tribal school, which is what they're managing, but our hand is to teach them a very challenging sport. I don't know how many people in the room have tried skiing or snowboarding. Yes, at the age of 36, but also as an adult or even, at the age younger, it's hard. And especially snowboarding, I found to be harder than skiing. But it is hard. And when you fall, you do have to get yourself back up. So it's a 2-part program. They come up here, they work in the tribal school, which is the yurt that you'll see behind the Mountain Commons Lodge here. And then they go to half-day ski lessons. So the program has also expanded over the years. In the video, you'll see it talks to 5th graders, but we have expanded it also to 6th graders and continually looking at ways to add funding to the program, not only with our parent company, Alterra, but with the Muckleshoot themselves. And then it also just fosters a close collaboration between Crystal and the Muckleshoot as well, which is a great partnership. So if we could play that video, it's a video we did a couple years ago that we thought you'll hear from them firsthand if they were here to also speak.
Our people's footsteps have been all over these lands for hundreds of generations and thousands of years. We're born conservationists. It's really important to help create that relationship between the natural world and our youth.
This year, we successfully got all of 8th graders and all of 5th graders up on the mountain with a fully classroom integrated curriculum that's culturally centered to the Muckleshoot Indian tribe.
Skiing and snowboarding, I think for our kids has been challenging in a very rewarding way. To let them know, like, yeah, we can fall, and we can get back up and do it again.
Yeah! I ate it! Nice! Yeah, nice dog! Oh yeah!
I think that promotes resiliency, and I think it promotes courage, and I think it promotes a lot of things that people tend to forget and foster in this world today.
First big hill, terrified. It's okay. Keeping those toes pressed in. Yeah! Up nice and stunner. Not as hard as I expected. I'm excited to go all the way down though, because it's fun.
My parents would probably love that I'm doing this, because they love me expressing myself. I want to see some real speed. Yes, it's fine to fall over. That means you're still learning.
With tribal school youth, they're reconnecting with the land to begin with, land that they've been displaced from for hundreds of years now. And that's what it's about. Connecting to this land, connecting with their ancestors, connecting with the snow, connecting with the mountains, giving them the wherewithal to stand up for that and create that identity of being keepers of the land once again.
Thank you. So, there's 3 other programs that I want to talk about today. So that's one of the 4 community programs we wanted to highlight. We do a handful of other programs. We, all throughout our community, we're doing silent auctions, and, we get, you can imagine the amount of organizations that are looking for something. So we always, our policy has been to work to do something, even if it's a visit up to the gondola, to support different community organizations for our skier and rider community. But the 3 other programs I want to talk about today are our community bus program, our Learn to Ski program, as well as our military program. So we can go to that next slide here. And these do service, broader Pierce County and King County as well. While this is a program that highlights Enumclaw, I thought it was a great example of how we're developing skiers and expanding our reach in the community, because it is about being a ski community in the Pacific Northwest, and how do we improve access? We know we're a premium sport, we're a premium mountain, and we're very proud of that. We have one of the best, we believe. White Pass, I did grow up skiing at White Pass, but we believe, we have some of the best terrain and the best place to offer these guests in the Pacific Northwest. So how do we continue to make it accessible to people while still living out our business and our brand? So one of the things that we launched this year, and you can see the number of collaborators on the bottom, it took a lot, it's taken a village. It was the Enumclaw Chamber of Commerce, the Enumclaw School District. But what we did is we started with middle schoolers, and we said, okay, who's going to be interested in this? We planned it during their spring break. Our founders community used some of their access credits to collaborate on it. We did a gear drive. So we did an annual block party in Enumclaw. We had over 6,000 people join us in Enumclaw to kick off our season this year. And we asked them to bring their used gear. Gear swaps used to be a very big thing in the community. Kind of, after COVID, things haven't always gotten back. The same thing about these community bus programs, which I'll talk to in a second. But really, this was to say, how do we start having our community represent us, talk about this, and have some access. So I think it's a great thing to highlight. We ended up with 39 students. We had a goal of a few more, but I think it's whether it was intimidating, we provided transportation. Maybe hopefully these kids tell everyone how cool it was and then come back next year. But getting them up here learning to ski, and it's something they might not be able to do. And it was 3 days. You know, wasn't their entire spring break, but really, really monumental success because of the number of collaborators it took, also in the school district. You know, volunteer committee. So happy to answer questions about that later. But next, I wanted to talk about our community bus program. And this serves two purposes. One, it really helps us get people up here midweek, which we like. It's a beautiful time to ski. It's a wonderful time to ski. You know, I don't think our midweek skiers want me to share that with too many people, but we would love to see more people midweek. And ski buses used to be a much bigger, trendier thing. I mean, and I think they started to slow long before COVID, but certainly that kind of really put a limit to what they were doing and their outreach in the community. So this was an effort of our sales team, actually. So again, this, you know, we combined with our sales team, but also a handful of these communities actually do their own bus. So we've got 4 buses. We've got one up Shoreline, one out of Olympia, Burien. We also have the Tacoma Gig Harper Puyallup bus. That one's actually our bus that we pay and we sponsor, and then there's a fee to do it. So some of them are community organized, and they're just trying to get their own members within Facebook groups or community groups, and they all fund the bus together. The Gig Harbor Tacoma Puyallup bus we're funding, and then people, they pay. There's a fee to do the bus. So it gets people up here Tuesdays and Thursdays. It also provides access for seniors or people who don't feel comfortable making the drive anymore. So that's another thing we've done about access. So it's helping us midweek. It's helping keep skiers skiing longer, and also it's a community-driven program. So we'd like to see those numbers a lot bigger. I think they're still pretty small from what our goals and ambitions are. But again, community ski buses serving two purposes: access to the mountain, but also Crystal Mountain's goals as well. And then the fourth program I'm going to talk about here, this last slide, is our military program. And this is another one that, again, serves two needs. We do love supporting our military community. Our mountain is accessed through a lot of pass holders, and we're part of a larger mountain access pass called Icon Pass. So they offer a military pass. But we also just felt like we wanted to do something more because we have this very large military base so close by. And we have a lot of people who maybe didn't grow up in the Pacific Northwest that come to that military base, that they might be stationed there for several years, they might be stationed there for a decade. And what a great opportunity to experience the Northwest, to experience the outdoors. So making sure they know we exist, one. We've attended some of their outdoors fairs, some of their school fairs with varying success of interest. But, you know, as it grows and we kind of learn which ones are best to show up at. And then two, working obviously with a cause that helps them as well, Mission Outdoors. So we donate raffle items, we host the venue. They also had a very big booth at that Stoke block party that I talked about that we had to kick off the season. So, you know, funds raised for Mission Outdoors, you know, close to $14,000. We also host a military appreciation weekend that they get 50% off, and it's also for spouses and dependents as well. And then the pass, we sold 407 season passes. That is active duty and retired only right now. We'd like to expand it. And then the over 1,000 day tickets, which does include veterans as well, first responders, teachers are also included as well. So it's that second one. That's our military number only, but we also expand it as well. Sorry, I forgot the slides were behind you, but you also have them in your packet. So again, it's serving our community, it's creating access, making sure people know we're here, and it also helps Crystal when we can have this group at our mountain. We've got lots of other community programs. We're a big mountain supporter of Pride in the Powder, and a handful of other programs. So we selected these 4 to highlight for you today. I think questions are at the end, but let me know if you have any questions, or happy to talk with anyone individually afterwards as well. And now I'm going to hand it off to Paul Sowers to speak with you as well. So thank you for the time.
Hello. As mentioned, I'm Paul Sowers, Fire Chief at Pierce County Fire District 25 and 26, known more locally as Crystal Mountain and Greenwater Fire. I started in '96. I've been a Tacoma firefighter since '88. And one of the things I learned very quickly up here is there's a lot of things that you take for granted in the urban areas or more populated areas that up here you really have to work for. Staffing, water supply, communications, additional resources. So it was quite a learning curve for me the first few years. Fortunately, I had a lot of great examples, most of whom were fairly, guys who worked on building roads out here, worked on logging. Over time, the district has definitely changed. It's become more of a recreational community. That's a good thing, and it's a bad thing in the sense that we have a significant percentage of our homes in Greenwater that are seasonal homes, which makes it a little tough to find volunteers. We currently have a staff of around, I would say, 20 people between Crystal and Greenwater who live here full-time and volunteer full-time. Crystal has actually been very supportive in helping us with a kind of unique staffing model for getting firefighters from other districts to come up here and help us work. I guess we try to be a multi-hazard fire department. We try to work a little above our weight class, and the reason we're able to do that is we have a lot of support from other agencies up here. I mentioned Buckley earlier. Their volunteer program and their recruit school and their EMS school has really enabled us to achieve a higher level of training than a small department like ours would ordinarily be able to achieve. We work very closely with the park during the summer, Forest Service certainly, and DNR for wildland season. Up here at Crystal, we work very closely with Ski Patrol. In fact, if you look at the total number of injuries in our districts, the vast majority of them would be during the ski season on the slopes, and the Ski Patrol handles those. I have to say it's a very high-functioning Ski Patrol, to the point where it actually creates certain problems for them in the sense that they have medics and occasionally doctors on staff, which is fairly unusual for a ski patrol, which means that that patient now has to be transported by the same level of care. And that has been a recent challenge that we've been working with the mountain. We've been working with Buckley and some other agencies to try to facilitate. I love our district. Like I said, we have around 20 people. We have 3 fire stations. Between the 2 districts, we have 3 engines, 2 tenders, 2 aid cars, 2 wildland trucks, and let's see, little tracked vehicle there and a larger tracked vehicle up there, so we can actually access 100% of our district up here 100% of the time. We have the community of Gold Hills up the hill here, which is the only real fee simple land in the area, so privately owned homes. For most of the rest of the district, we receive in our budget, as many of you may know, tax dollars for improvements, but not tax dollars for land value. So we're a little underfunded in that regard, and I know that you guys have dispersed some PILT money to us in the past. It's been very helpful in dealing with that and helped us achieve some of those goals. We are looking forward to a summer here that's going to be probably quite a significant wildland season. Once again, always plan for the worst and hope for the best. Snowpack's pretty good. That's kind of the first variable we look at. But as the weather has changed here in the spring, it's been a little dry, and the snowpack is going away fast. We are keeping 2 wildland engines in service this summer because we're not sure how many other resources on the federal side are going to be available. So our goal is always to keep small fires small and then hand it off to the appropriate agency. That's kind of a general overview. If you have any questions, I'll be hanging around the coffee stand later.
We're on your turf.
I'm Doug Blanchard, and I was asked to come here and represent the Gold Hills community. You've heard a little bit about it already. There will be, I guess, 37 homes when it's done, but right now some's under construction. But I can't really do this without, going back to when I first came up here in 1981 to work on the ski patrol, and just kind of, with no idea that I'd be here 40 plus years later. But this has been an incredible place and an incredible experience for me to work here. I met my wife here shoveling snow on the trail over here. She was a volunteer ski patroller. Both of our kids were born and probably walked on snow before they walked on ground because they're winter babies. And my son's working on the ski patrol here now, and so it's been an incredible home for us. Incredible people that have come in over the years and worked here, and really just a tremendous experience. And I think I've seen 5 changes of management in my time here, and just a couple things this year that really stood out to me. It was late February when I was talking to one of the lift operators, and she said, "We haven't lost anybody all year." And I'm like, "You haven't had any turnover in the lift operator department at this point?" It's a phenomenal statement, because staffing has always been a real challenge, and I've had ski patrollers come up to me and say, I think I can afford to make a living working here. And that's a change that has come with Alterra over previous ownership. Everybody else just worked hard to put things together to make it happen, because they love the work. So anyway, the Gold Hills community is composed of 5 or 6 families who've been there since they first built up there in the 60s and 70s. They've stayed, and they're in their 3rd and 4th generations. We've had a lot of new families come into the area. I think when our kids were growing up there were very few kids around. Now the place is just alive with kids who are involved in the racing program. And it's a challenging place to live. You have to do over snow travel with either a snowmobile. A lot of people are going to more of the modern side-by-sides and snowcats. And when it snows a lot, the road up there, people get stuck. They roll their snowmobiles over. They really struggle to make it work. So it's not the easiest place to live, but it's really one of the greatest place to live, because when you wake up there in the morning and you look out the window and you see the whole resort like you don't see from, really it's the best view of the resort is from up there, because it's you're looking at all the bowls and everything. So it's really special that way. And the communities work together to maintain the infrastructure that we have. Our summer road starts 2 miles down and climbs this side of the hill, and we've been putting a lot of work into it, working with the Forest Service on what are the appropriate treatments, replacing culverts, repairing washouts when we've had some catastrophic things happen. All things that come at kind of a surprise. They're not anticipated expenses, but we're trying to build the road back up, adding material to it, correcting drainage on it, making it really, really functional for ourselves. And the construction traffic's having a big impact on that. So we're battling with that. And I just want to say that the improvements that have happened on the 6 Mile road up here really have transformed the road from what used to be a pretty challenging drive, but the guardrail system and the netting on the rocky corner down there that prevent rock fall from coming onto the road have made the road a lot safer than in the past. People had hit rocks and flatted tires or gone off the road, and a lot of things have really improved. So that was another point of interest. I guess I'm focused on safety a lot for things. I did it at work for a number of years, looking out for people and looking out for problems with work settings, and so I kind of have an eye for that. And things seem like safety's getting a lot more attention here on the mountain, and we talked to our community members about how to drive snowmobiles and snowcats safely, and make sure everybody's cooperating with the other people that are trying to use the mountain. So it is a cooperative existence that we have with them, and we just really enjoy the opportunity to come up here and ski down to the area and jump on a lift and have a great day. So it's a nice, diverse group of people up there. New people come and go. It's places don't turn over that frequently, but it just seems like there's been some continuity in terms of people coming up there and wanting to be there for the right reason, which is just to have their family here and enjoy the experience. So you can see it a little bit better when visibility is better, but you can take a look at some houses up there. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Stacy Cernich, the CEO of Good Roots Northwest. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me to your fireside chat. This is so lovely. I think I would be remiss not to mention that I've been up here to Crystal Mountain in my own backyard quite a few times with Councilmember Morrell and with Judy, engaging in discussions of economy and community needs up here. And one thing I find so interesting about how Councilmember Morrell works, and I think Matt mentioned it at the top of the mountain, there's genuine engagement and relationships with each one of us that are doing work in our communities that goes beyond transactional. It is very intentional, and introductions are very intentional. And I would say we stopped at every business every time we came up here on the way up, Dave and Judy and I. And Councilmember Morrell knows not only every business, but all the challenges that they're experiencing, what their children's names are, dogs, I mean, you name it. So thank you, Councilmember, for always having all of us on your mind. So with that, what is somebody that runs a food bank doing on top of a mountain today? I think, we look out and see the cold weather and the ice and the snow, and in actuality, we're in the middle of a desert. This is a food and transportation desert, like many nooks and crannies of Pierce County. There are places and spaces where constituents and taxpayers are paying and not receiving the same benefits as other taxpayers in more metropolitan parts of the county. I think that is something that has been fascinating for me to watch, and as somebody that spearheads a very technology-focused project, it is interesting what types of solutions technology can bring forth that historically have not been available. With food access, the phases of Good Roots Northwest and our evolution of growth, I'll kind of kick it back, way back 5 years ago. No, actually only 3. 2022, we launched our locker. So we are currently in phase 3 of the locker network. I will let you in on a secret that there was always supposed to be many phases to these lockers, and each one of them would have a very intentional purpose, but they are a network that all is interconnected. Phase 1 was the pilot that we did with you. Thank you so much, Pierce County Council members, for believing in a very outside-of-the-box solution. Those were the 3 lockers in Bonnie Lake, Buckley, and Ording. And then through conversations and intentional introductions by Councilmember Morrell, we worked with Representative Kim Schreier and Representative Marilyn Strickland. Phase 2 was very, very specific about being in rural areas under 20,000. So we intentionally put all of the council's lockers in areas that were over 20,000 in population. And then Representative Schreier's were in places like Carbonado and Wilkeson. There are 200 houses in Carbonado. We launched a locker, and within 48 hours, 80 of those households had an order placed online. That's the power of technology, securing food in 48 hours. So knowing this, as we approached phase 3, we knew that we would be entering into interesting economic times that I will continue to talk about in terms of how that relates up here to Crystal Mountain. But the interesting part of our economy right now, phase 3 is all about community and technical colleges. For those of you that were at Bates, know that we have a Pierce College, Clover Park, UW-T, you name it, they all want them. And they want them because right now, the existing workforce we're caring for, who is paying a huge percent of their tax dollar into the social safety net, and we have an entire food system that actually does not provide access to them because they're working. That's who the locker is serving. And so right now with this phase 3, we've heard the unimaginable, which is in schools and technical colleges, young people that are wanting to enter the workforce are actually unenrolling to address basic needs because they're in school when food is available, and they're having to make hard choices. So we are hoping to gather some data on that and really halt these things that are happening, right in front of our eyes right now. But I am always thinking of the next phase, and phase 4 is really been about engagement in these food deserts, like here on Crystal Mountain, at the top of a mountain, where businesses have in 2020 gone under. There were a lot more stops that Councilmember Morrell would make on his way up to the mountain. There's 3 now, and none of those involve a place where there's food. And none of them involve a place where there's healthy food. Actually, the interesting part about being on top of this mountain is when the glacier ran off and went through the Sumner and Kent Valley, that actually created some of the top 5 richest agricultural soil in our nation and in the world because of the glacier. And there is abundance in that valley, and yet there is absolutely no way to connect that food up to the top of this mountain currently. So phase 4 will be about connecting that through economy and through commerce, where we're working with Pierce County businesses to be able to provide, yes, I'm in the food access business, but food access is also ensuring that places where it is just not possible for a grocery store to put up shop here on the mountain, that would not be economically viable. But a locker can provide the same support that a 3,000 square foot grocery store could with a one-time cost. And so to be able to work where we are addressing, imagine 4 towers on a locker being completely devoted to food access here on this side of the county, but maybe 4 of those lockers are part of the Pierce County Farmers Market, where we're connecting access to fresh food and providing direct-to-consumer access so that a farmer who does not have time to be at a farmer's market will be able to interact in spaces and places like Crystal Mountain and beyond, and to be selling their product directly to a consumer. I'll be excited to give you updates on that as we start to enter more into that phase. We will be piloting it. Thanks again to the council for supporting that pilot. We are gearing up for that currently. With that, I think that's it. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Stacy. It's so interesting just listening to you speak, and one of my earliest conversations with Councilmember Morrell when I took this position was we have to do more for our community. It is very difficult to live up here for our employees. At the time, we were working through an employee situation, but then engaging more in the community. We got to see it's a lot. It goes way beyond our mountain to everyone living between here and Enumclaw. And we, whether it's us being able to get timely food deliveries, so we actually have food for our guests, which is not a given, to having food up here when someone runs out of something. Crystal used to operate a small grocery store, and we shut it down because we had to throw all the food away. It was just cost prohibitive because it's so difficult to bring food up and have it where where it's consistently available for residents. And so we went to Dave and we said, how can we do better? How can we, we love to buy local. We want to do more locally. There's all these farms on the plateau. How do we source from them? Our distributors right now, if we go to U.S. Foods or Cisco, they're coming from Tukwila, coming from Tacoma, Puyallup, in distribution centers down there, and it's too far away. When they have to be here at 7 in the morning and the plows don't start till 5:30, it creates a big log jam, and now you've got trucks stuck in snowstorms, stuck in traffic. And so we said, how do we do better? And he said, I think you should meet someone, and that was Stacy. So thank you. Whether it's moving our supply chain down the hill so that we can consolidate on the plateau, and expand some infrastructure there to make this easier and take matters into our own hands, or just learning more about the technology that's available, so that rather than trying to stock a whole store with things people might not want, allow residents, employees, guests, whatever it is, to source food on demand and be able to reliably get it. There's lots of things we can do to help the community up here. I just thank you so much, Stacy, for lending your knowledge and your insight to these problems we're trying to solve. Okay, that's our program. As I said, we're much more than just a business up here. And truly thank you to all the speakers that came up to help showcase what we have going here. Obviously, Crystal is not Crystal without all of you, and there's so many more. But thank you again for the time to the council, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions? Councilmember Herrera.
So I don't think we caught the number of actual employees. I guess you can talk about your seasonal, winter, or you can do the whole 365 of how many people actually do work up here.
Yeah, so obviously we are seasonal. We're still primarily a winter business. We'll have just shy of 900 employees when we're fully staffed. About 140, 150 of those are full-time year-round employees. And then we have another, let's say, 300 that are what we call career seasonals, patrollers, high-skilled mechanics, lift mechanics that come back year over year.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Matt, for the overview. I have two questions. So I'm wondering, is there still ski schools that come through public schools where kids meet and do bus programs and come up? Because that's how my brothers learned to ski. They left me behind, but they learned how to ski.
Yeah, it's actually how I learned to ski too. Not at Crystal, unfortunately. My parents didn't want to drive all the way up here from Seattle, so we went to Alpental. But yeah, you know, it was a huge part of our midweek business up here. We had dozens of buses weekly coming up to the mountain, and that's fallen off. And a lot of it has to do, it's actually less about, and that's at every ski resort, by the way, in Western Washington. And it has everything to do with the changing environment. A lot of the schools used to subsidize those as extracurricular programs. A lot of the parents have had to pick those up. But now there's more with chaperoning. Teachers used to go. Now you need parents to go. Parents work. They can't make the time, aren't willing to commit to it. We actually had a couple of our senior leaders hosting those programs for their schools, and it gave us a lot of insight into where those challenges lie. And it's something we're committed to growing, as you heard Linnea speak to. And there's a number of pain points we're working with the local school districts to try to break down, and also bring awareness back to it, because as that's died, as those programs have died off, a lot of kids just don't even know. I mean, it's surprising. You know, Linnea spoke to the block party we held this fall in Enumclaw, and it was surprising how many people walked up and said, "What's Crystal Mountain? What is Crystal Mountain?" We're like, you know, obviously we're maybe a little self-centered in that respect, but I mean, to have the nearest community not know that we're even up here, and have kids not know we're here, is disappointing, and something we aim to do better in. So we're trying to look into those areas, provide resources where we can. We've committed some funds to help grow that, and our focus is really on the Enumclaw Buckley communities, the Muckleshoots, and then we are trying to bring this to Tacoma and see if we can do something with some inner city kids as well. And I'll just add one other thing to that. You know, we have the skiing and riding community is very robust, and it's people from all walks. We have a global snowboarding brand whose ownership is a resident of Seattle and lives in the community. And he's done some amazing things with a local community center and starting a BMX bike park. They've got hundreds of kids going. This thing was dying on the vine. They've got hundreds of kids in it. They now have world-class athletes there. And so we're looking at other ways to bring kids up here too, beyond just skiing, and looking to summer activities and other ways as well. So there's so much more we can do in that space. It's just going to take some time and some work.
And we have 30 school programs currently.
Okay. Thank you. And my second question just is, pre-COVID, post-COVID, are your numbers the same, greater, less than? What's that looking like up here?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and we're not unique in this regard. It's statistics you'll see pretty much nationwide. So through COVID, in the two winters that defined COVID, we saw an explosion of visits. Basically no one's working. They got nothing to do. Let's go up and ski. And then we saw it whipsaw back as it seems skiers and riders had to figure out life after that, whether it's work from home or go back, return to office or whatever it was. And now we're seeing that stabilize. We're seeing that grow. So Crystal had a great year. We've been on a 3-year uptick. That's a trajectory we hope will continue.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Other questions? Councilmember Kruger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All very fascinating, and I love the action that goes up here, and it's great for kids. And I wanted to ask, because the school is very interesting in how much that helps, and I'm wondering, because there's a lot of youth violence that is focused on at the county level, is there an avenue to have a school that helps youth that are troubled, because that is somewhat what you're doing now, that could be expanded upon?
Would love to. I think we need to talk and learn more about that, but we'd love to do more in that space.
Because it just seems getting out and being independent and learning skills is can be so amazing of an effect. And what is the capacity here when you say, like, if there's an explosion? When do you start turning people away, or how does, how is...
Could you define explosion?
Yeah. Well, when you
that's because might need Paul up here.
When you said, like, for COVID, it was just the business exploded.
What? Okay, so the question of how big could we get, and we, again, we're a private company, we don't share our stats publicly, but there are thousands of guests that come up here on any given day, and it's to talk about the capacity is a little bit murky.
Because what I'm leading to the question in that is in regards to accommodations and how to grow to accommodate the capacity that continues to grow, because it's beneficial to generate that revenue, and people feel better when they can have a good time. So,
and you're speaking of overnight accommodations,
like overnight housing, because you would need more employees, or what is the need in housing? Is it like 1,000 square feet? Is it 2,500 square feet? Or what is the capacity to grow out here versus...
That's a real challenge.
If there were no restraints.
If there were no restraints...
The obstacles, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think, it starts, again, we're 100%, with the exception of the Gold Hills community up the hill, we're 100% Forest Service land. And so we're really constrained by entitlements. And right now there's overnight capacity for about 330 overnight rooms. Again, I distinguish that from some of the other things I mentioned before. We have about 300 rooms for ski clubs. Down the hill, that's a unique designation within the Forest Service, so it's not for hire overnight hospitality, but it's not permanent or individually owned units as well. We have 150 condos. But of the overnight hospitality, we have about 330. It's a little bit fuzzy, but about 330, of which 87 are only currently exploited. So there's a big opportunity. It's not huge. There's never going to be a city up here at Crystal, but there is definitely an opportunity to expand in that regard. We do. I think Crystal is keen on seeing that done. Now, there's been a lot of buzz on that. It's like, oh my gosh, Crystal wants to be a destination resort. Well, I don't think our DNA is going to change. We're still going to be a mountain for the locals, but there are so many families, to your point, that want to come up on a Friday night, not make the drive in the weather or in the traffic, come up, stay the night, wake up at the mountain, have a great day with their family, be able to go back to a room with their ski gear. So we want to give that to them, we are working on a development plan to bring a hotel to the area. When that'll happen, I can't say, but we're going through the process now.
Because I didn't know if there was capacity, like for, maybe you have them here, but little hut type for glamping. I was in Skamania last week, and they had, they are quite amazing, but like 500 a night was the starting point for these units. And then at Northwest Truck, they have, I believe it was three units. And someone can go honeymoon, wake up with the animals, I don't know. And I didn't know if that was maybe something that could help generate more revenue here.
Yeah, well, you're onto something. We actually tried it. It was called Sky Camp. We did it about 3 years ago. We put 20 tents. So we have to be very careful about what these are. These can't be semi-permanent like a lot of these glamping sites are. Ours have to truly be temporary. They're truly tents. But there's things we can do. So we had placed them up in Campbell Basin, up on our mountain where we have a lodge next door that could be kind of utilized and run some bathrooms and water and all that. Work with the Forest Service to get that approved. The hard part about it, lacking any managed hospitality ourselves, it was very difficult to run that, and it became a situation. You know, weddings were pretty good business there, but if you weren't renting out all of them, you couldn't do it onesie twosie, and so financially it didn't make sense. When we build a hotel, if we build a hotel, but when we build a hotel, it's something we will definitely look at just to add. A different, a differentiated experience to folks that want to see it. So yeah.
I'm thinking that they had tree houses that were down in Skamania.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, beautiful. So anyway, I just was curious on that, and that pretty much answers my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. This question is actually for our fire chief. And I feel like I should know this, but I don't. You talked about a challenge being that if someone is injured, they need to be transported with the same level of care to a facility. Can you tell us what regulation that's connected to and kind of the impacts of it?
Pierce County EMS protocols. So if, for example, I guess to go into it a little further, most of the governmental public safety agencies are subject to a mutual aid agreement. Ski Patrol falls outside that because they're essentially private employees of a private company. In my mind, they're on at least an equal footing with us. They're definitely a public safety agency because they're up here doing the work. So when they have a patient who's what we call an ALS patient, advanced life support, which tends to be more serious or possibly life-threatening injuries or illnesses, if that patient is seen by a paramedic, then a paramedic has to stay with that patient all the way to the hospital. And ALS transport in East Pierce County is rather thin on the ground. Buckley steps up and covers most of it, but they have limited resources. East Pierce has occasionally, they've responded all the way up here. They would prefer not to, quite reasonably. They have a limited number of ALS units and they have their own district to cover. Crystal, I know this year has worked hard to build relationships with some private ambulance companies to help fill that void. And then, of course, if the weather permits and we have a serious injury up here, usually we're going to call airlift and have them flown. But that is basically Pierce County EMS protocols, and I think you'll find that's fairly standard throughout the EMS community, is that once you maintain or once you establish a level of care, you have to maintain that level of care to the hospital. And I don't know of a lot of ski patrols that have the level of care that this one provides. It's and like I said, it's a beautiful thing, but I think it actually creates a little bit of a logistical situation for them to try to line up that ALS transport from here to wherever the hospital they transport to is, because it is a little scarce up here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, one last time. Does anyone have any further questions? Going once, going twice. You're off the hook right now, Matt.
Thank you all. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the last item on the agenda is the community forum. Community forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is significant to affecting Pierce County government. There's a 3-minute limit. Please state your name, if you want it on the record, and address, and make your comments to the chair. We will start with anyone in the room who wants to approach the podium and address the chair.
I have to give my address?
No, you don't have to.
My house.
Hello, Chair Mayor. Sorry. Hi, my name is Alice, and I am in District 6, yay, and I am also the current chair for the Pierce County Refugee and Immigrant Affairs Commission, and I just wanted to say hi to your District 1 and then really share a little bit about our commission in 2.5 minutes. So just a little background. Our commission was established a few years ago during the pandemic, and one of the things that we really wanted to do is serve the constituents of refugee and immigrants in Pierce County. And then also, when we came together, we really wanted to make sure that it's not just us, but it's really the whole community. And just like the previous speakers talked about, skiing is like this, and the community out here doesn't integrate as much of the rest of Pierce County. The same thing, you know, sometimes your refugee and immigrants have their, circle, and then we're not really connecting with each other. And so I had the privilege to chair the very first part of our commission, and we really worked on identifying our vision and our mission and our values, and I'm just going to read them really quickly. The vision is hand in hand. We create the joy of belonging, and I think that is something that all Pierce County residents are looking for, and our mission really is to be community advocates with lived experiences, collaborating with the Pierce County leadership, refugee immigrants, to create, a thriving and inclusive society, which I think, again, is something that we all are looking for, to build on all of our strengths. And then our values are interconnectedness, equity, compassion, and open-mindedness. And so my part here is just to thank you, and if there are immigrants and refugees in your community, let us know. We do have representation on our board. Andre Tokar is your representative that you appointed here for District 1. And we're here to, support Pierce County, your district, all of the, the whole Pierce County to be, that thriving place that we can all be proud to call home, especially having Crystal Mountain. I have not skied before, so I have a new better half, and he loves to ski, so I will probably be here to learn how to ski. So, see you.
We always like new customers up here. So.
And then this is our fellow council commissioner, George Consuelo.
Okay, would you
Hello, Chair and members of the Council. Thanks so much for having an in-person meeting. Just as you are trying to meet your constituents where they're at, our commission is really doing an effort to show up and show out to our community members, like our Chair Alice said, not specifically to solely our refugee and immigrant communities, but to kind of mesh together and create that fabric of Pierce County even stronger and more vibrant. And so it was a great drive out here. I'm kind of worried for the drive back, but I will definitely, as Alice mentioned, if there are any folks out here that feel like they are would like some more visibility or representation, we are more than happy to make the drive out here and bring the conversation to them, because as you all know, it is not enough to just meet people where they're at. You have to go further than that to create that relationship, that security, and that comfort within the community. So thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you so much for allowing us to do what we can do to help you and make Pierce County a better place to call home. So thanks so much.
Thank you for coming out from the big city to the furthest point of Pierce County. So great, thank you. Anyone else in the room would like?
I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but since I have the opportunity, I'll take it. My name is Johnny Sensel. I'm a full-time resident of Greenwater, and I had a conversation with someone from the State Department of Transportation not long ago, because with help from Senator Fortunato, and Councilmember Morell, we, in the community, as a volunteer effort, managed to place porta potties in several locations on the 410 corridor, not this past summer, but the 2 summers before that, because traffic got so thick during the pandemic that people were coming out to get into nature, and we were having real issues with sanitation. And thank you just to the council and to Councilmember Morell specifically, because I think if we hadn't got that started and hadn't had a little bit of money, both from Senator Fortunato's office and Councilmember Morell's office, I don't think the idea of having the state pitch in and do something more with more money would have ever happened. So the state's currently working on that, which makes all of us in Greenwater very happy, helps alleviate the burden on our couple little businesses, and so we really appreciate your support.
And thank you. It's amazing what a couple porta potties can do to a community.
It makes you happy.
Like she said, you give me the chance, I guess I'll come up here. I'm Bob Grubb. I owned a business in Greenwater for a long time. Started in the early 70s, and I've been retired for 5 years now. And I sold my business. You probably came through Greenwater and maybe didn't even notice it. And there's a real reason for that: infrastructure. And we've talked about it here. No porta potties. We don't have bathrooms either. So the big problem with Crystal and Greenwater is infrastructure. I worked for, I can't tell you how many years, certain council members back in the day and people working for Pierce County planning about putting a water system into Greenwater. That's why there's no businesses in Greenwater. There's no restaurants. It needs fire protection. And a small business is a hard thing to run. But when you ask them to put in a $5 million water system, it's impossible. So it needs the help of Pierce County. And Pierce County this is a remote part of Pierce County. It's not connected to Tacoma. It's separated by King County. So sometimes it gets overlooked. And the business community now is so small that it's not able to even speak for itself. So Dave Morell came to me before he even got elected. And here he is again tonight. He's a great man. And I believe that maybe he can bring that before this council to get some infrastructure into Greenwater and Crystal Mountain so that they can help our fire departments and help our businesses and help our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grubb. He is the self-appointed mayor of Greenwater. And yeah, Mr. Grubb has been at the forefront of a lot of positive things that have happened in Greenwater, including the Gateway Community designation. So he has been in the trenches for a long time, and I appreciate learning from him all the challenges in a very, very rural community. So is there anyone else in the room that wants to make comment? Okay. We will go to online and see if anyone actually zoomed into this meeting.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And Mr. Chair, at this time, there are no hands.
Got to do something about our viewership here. But anyway, we will close the public comment portion of our community forum portion of our agenda. I would just like to offer some closing comments. Does any of the other council members want to make any comments before I launch into mine? Councilmember Herrera.
I just wanted to say thanks for bringing us up here today to see the edge of the county and where people live in the community. I mean, it's real. I mean, sometimes we forget when our busyness that there's people that live way out here, and they've been living out here a long time. You know, as a county, we try to, it's grown so much, our county has grown so much, and we're trying to provide services like we're a city. And that's really tough to do sometimes. And sometimes, like you said, communities get overlooked in some aspects because there's separation. We have King County and other things like that separate us out here. And I just really appreciate you bringing us out here so we can kind of see the perspective, how far it is, how really big our county is, and how far our responsibilities and reach to our constituents is. So thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Kruger.
Thank you, Chair. I too want to say appreciative of the drive out here. I have never been here. I have never snow skied. I can water ski, but I've never, that's kind of freaky. But not that I shouldn't try sometime, but this stresses the value and the importance of our small areas that have big impact and how important it is to have the infrastructure here. And I get it with Greenwater. I've got Kapowson, which is a small area, which could grow at some point in time. Graham has its difficulties. The entrance to Mount Rainier has an issue. And I don't quite know when it is state and federal and county as well. So it's a very expensive fix on that. And I just appreciate having the business part of this and the challenges that you have. And it doesn't seem like there should be that many obstacles to get things back up and going. But, life is what it is right now. So I just really appreciate the knowledge that was shared and the points that were brought out, the importance of the people out here and how many other people want to be here, but we don't have the accommodations for it. So work on that. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair Morrell. I will echo all of the other comments and just really thank Crystal for staying open late for us and the public tonight. I know it's been a really good season for you, and I'm so glad to hear that, but I know that's also probably exhausting, right? So we really appreciate you staying open. We appreciate the food service staff. The food was amazing tonight as well. And I just know a little bit about the business, and it's a tough business being in the outdoor recreation space. You're very weather dependent. You're very, seasonal dependent. Your staffing is variable up and down, and I'm sure you're training new people all of the time. So, it's a challenging industry, but it brings so much joy to so many people, and you've taken the opportunity, too, to bring a lot of new people out to experience the outdoors in the Pacific Northwest, and so I'm very appreciative of that as well. And thank you to Councilmember Morrell for bringing us out here. This is going to be a tough one to beat. And he and I are very competitive, so I will be working on that. I don't know if I can beat this, though.
Councilmember Yambe.
All right. I'm going to go on the record and say some nice things about you. Of course, I'm just teasing. We always say nice things about each other sometimes. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for making the time to come out tonight. I think, as to echo the couple of the colleagues, there's nothing like the reaffirmations of the good work of public safety, law enforcement, our community members who are devoting, lives and years to public service in our own communities and making sure that things move on time, things move at all, and that we support each other no matter how far we are away from the larger population bases of the county. And it's really comforting, and it's really a reminder of how it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that we're doing what we can to support all the communities across Pierce County. So it's one of those that's very comforting and just a good reminder. And I do want to thank the esteemed colleague of mine from District 1 for organizing such a nice event and thoughtful, and also compliments to the council member for really taking the time to understand the needs of your constituency and going around. The compliments here are real and genuine, and it's very impressive, and I want to give you kudos because you've been very involved in government for a long time, and to hear those things are just reminders of there's a reason why you're still here. And so I see it, and I'm impressed, and I appreciate all the work that you've done and that you continue to do on behalf of the county. So thank you, Councilmember Merle.
Thank you, Councilmember Yonbe, for those kind comments. Sometimes I question why I'm still here, but anyway, anybody else? Okay. With that, I will close with my own comments. First of all, thanking Crystal Mountain for their hospitality. I want to thank their staff for their professionalism, for going above and beyond for council and our guests for tonight. The dinner was very well done. Kudos to the chef for putting together the dinner, the menu items. I know Councilmember Herrera, that's the only reason he came, was for the sockeye salmon. So whatever it takes to get the council members here, but I just want to say thank you to the staff, the gondola team, for getting us safely up the mountain and down the mountain, and then just being able to learn more about the history of Crystal Mountain and the impact that it does have on the community. And I'd like to then thank PCTV for making the trek. I was kidding with Ben that we were going to try and have it at the restaurant at the top, which meant they would have to pack everything in the gondola and take it to the top. So those plans fell through, so we settled for a brand new lodge instead. Then I would also like to thank DEM, the radio comm group, for being here, and then Pierce County Sheriff's Department. They are here. You may not see them, but they are hanging around, so we appreciate that. And my comments will be directed also towards Altera, the corporation. I just appreciate the fact that they understand that we are a unique community up here. And our culture is a little bit different than some of the other resorts that they own. And I just kudos for them to hire Matt. I've had a great relationship with Matt from day one. And just his engagement in the community, his ability to also look at creativity and technology for making improvements, but then beyond that, just really wanting to be part of this extended community and looking at new models on how to do that. So we have talked about a lot of different things, and we'll continue to talk about that. But getting back to Altera, I appreciate the investment they have made into this community, because I think this resort is better because of those investments. And the team that they have, the knowledge that they bring to the table is unique within the ski resort community, and I just appreciate that. For me, we talk about learning to ski. I'm going to go back a few years to cable bindings and lace-up boots and 7-foot wooden skis that my parents, that was all they could afford, and buying it at some swap meet and sending a 13-year-old kid up here through Parkland Sports and trying to learn how to ski, going up the rope tow with 7-foot skis and cable bindings was a challenge, but that's how I learned to ski. And then anyway, I always say once Mom and Dad quit paying for it, I quit skiing. But I've always enjoyed being up here on the mountain, and it is kind of great that here I am 50 years plus later, that this is my district. And there again, getting to know each and every one of you in this room for what you bring to the table. Your love for this area is amazing, for nature, for the outdoors, for preserving this gem. And I'm always just honored to be able to represent this area. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone coming out this afternoon, this evening, for a meeting, and safe travels back. And you'll be okay. You will be okay. So with that, I don't think there's any other business. If you have questions or comments that you want to make to any of the presenters, do it at this time. We are now adjourned. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say,